Marlyna is an internationally renowned feng shui and Chinese metaphysics expert, author, consultant, speaker, and educator. Marlyna's feng shui credentials go back to the early 90s. She's a lifelong learner and has traveled the world to study with 8 different Chinese masters and grandmasters of feng shui, including Zhou Yap. She was honored with the title of Master in 2006. She was honored 3 times with distinction of Feng Shui and Advanced Baozi Studies and Mastery Academy. And she's an expert in advanced Sunhe and Sanyun Feng Shui applications. She also founded the East-West Academy in 2005, a school consciously dedicated to the higher purpose, empowerment, and support of people to live better lives. Her website is marlynaconsulting.com, so do check out her website. And she does offer courses and educational courses on her website, and she does personal readings for people as well. I do want to remind everybody that today's talk is still for educational purposes and fun and continuing education purposes. This is not meant to be medical advice, so do not perceive it as medical advice since it's not intended to be medical advice. If you have a health condition, please seek out medical care with a qualified healthcare provider. Again, this is for educational and entertaining purposes only. All right, Marlyna, so looking forward to hearing what you have to say. It's all yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. Today, we're here to talk about the year of the water tiger, right? And why does this image have 3 tigers in it? Because I'm going to show you the chart for the year. There's 3 tigers in the chart for the year. So most of you, I know many of you have an acupuncture background, and I know that part of that study is that you have some awareness of the 5 elements, deep awareness of the 5 elements, probably more than me in some respects. And the 12 animals represent energy. And the fact that out of the 4 that can be in a chart, and we're going to show you that 3 are tigers, already starts to tell you that this year coming up is a bit of an unbalanced year, you know? And so, you know, thank you, Lauren, for that beautiful introduction. I just want to add that of the people I studied with in China, one of them was the head of a TCM college. And I spent a few weeks in Chongqing, China, studying with the director of the college. And in the 90s and early 2000s, since the Cultural Revolution, feng shui has been illegal in China. So a lot of that information went underground. But as you all know, originally astrology and feng shui was part of medicine, right? It was all part of the teachings. And so it's really exciting to me, because I now have more than 20 years of study with this, is to talk to people who are in the field and perhaps bring a little bit of knowledge that you don't have to your practices. I'm going to teach you not just about the animals this year, but a little bit some of the things that are really important in this whole thing of what is fate and destiny, right? One of the biggest things that got me so excited about Chinese metaphysics was that there's 3 factors that control our lives that they call heaven, earth, and man. And that 33% of our destiny is the blueprint we were born with, that with our first breath, we are imbued with the energy of the universe at that moment. And somehow that gives us a vibrational blueprint of energy that interacts with the universe. Now, yes, we incarnate lifetime after lifetime. I cannot get into all these wonderful existential conversations we could get into, but we have a blueprint in this lifetime. So that's covered under heaven destiny. Earth is where you live, and that can be manipulated by feng shui, and human energy is what we do. And so 33% of our destiny is always underneath our own ability to take medicine, to change what we do, to improve our actions. But 33%, some of us are born with health constitutional issues. Some of us will interact with time in different ways. And so by understanding who we are and working with that, we actually can truly empower ourselves, okay? And the other thing about earth feng shui that's a big takeaway here is each of the directions have an element attached to it. But all the directions are actually, there's a saying that's really important. 70% of the energy of any home or building is determined by location. And so you take where you are living or working and you put that in another area of town, exact same building, it's going to have a different energy. And so part of my training as well is understanding how qi flows through land and how mountains and shapes and different locations all affect our well-being. So the language that I speak in is qi, yin and yang, the 5 elements, the 8 trigrams, and then the 12 animals. And the 12 animals are not animals, they represent chi. And so even the character that they're written in is not the character of the pig, as in a barn, or the tiger, as in the forest. They are metaphysical terms. So the ancients understood that chi was vibration. We are vibration. And you guys know this by the foods we eat and by the acupuncture and things like that. We can, shift things around. The way of the Tao, and I wish I could go into deeper with you in this whole thing, but the yin and yang of this is also important, because in the beginning, there was nothing, like who we truly are. And we split into yin and yang. Like each of us has yin and yang inside of us. When we're too yang, I can see this in homes. I can see this in time. Like for instance, and I'm going to show you a little bit too about the years. Last few years have all been water and metal, very yin years. Well, what happens when things are too yin and metal and water are strong? Mucus, fluids, colds, COVID, and all those things thrive. And so we can work with yin and yang in time or manipulate it with foods and things, but we can also work with yin and yang in our environment. And so I now incorporate, so there's this doing part of us and there's this being part of us. And I'm going to encourage you, I do also every month a free moon circle meditation. So yes, we do things in our lives to improve our lives, but also by tuning in and listening and resting, we can improve our health as well. And I'm rushing, and I apologize for that, but an hour is not very long to cover all the things that I want to talk about. And I have to give you a bit of background. Chi is invisible. It is visible by effect. So just having a beautiful home or a beautiful environment is not enough. The question actually first is, how is your life? And we all need chi. Now, I know you guys, I'm speaking to the converted, but one of the biggest things that I see, because see, most of our thinking is subconscious, and our homes reflect our subconscious beliefs. And so it's not just enough to have beauty. It's also that we work through these processes of like, I need better relationships, or I want to make more money. And this is where we start to understand yin and yang. And I do one-day workshops where you get a little bit more into that if you want to understand. We all need chi, but chi isn't just black and white. Yin chi governs health. Yang chi governs making money and opportunities. What kind of chi do you want for what type of things? And then, yeah, so each year we interact with stuff. And so that's how we see chi, is like, how's your life? And you know this, we interact with chi from our chakras. We're all connected. And this is actually one of the biggest things I teach in the meditation workshops, because there's a lot of fear in the world, and the fear is going to continue this year. One of the predictions for this year as well is that we're not out of the woods. What I see happening more this year energetically, instead of COVID being a physical pandemic, is that there's an emotional pandemic, and it's already here. People are tired, and the energy is such that we're burnt out, we're struggling, and now people have to cope. But how do we help people? Part of this is our own thoughts, is by actually being open to helping people. Fear is the problem. So it's like by understanding that actually we're part of the change, we can work with that. Yeah, and so a couple of my favorite sayings: in all chaos, there's in all chaos, there is a cosmos, and in all disorder, a secret order. Carl Jung studied astrology. And my favorite one, Lauren knows this one too: nothing happens to you, everything happens for you. And that's important, because as I look at, and maybe I say you're a monkey and this year you're clashing with a tiger and you're going to have a lot of change. If you look at that, like Lauren saying, don't tell me to change my place, or Marlyna told me to fix the door and now my place is better and has better energy. Like everything happens for you, but it's not always comfortable. Okay, so I don't know if you have seen a full 4 pillars chart. You can go to my website and get a free copy by putting in your birth date and seeing, this is what a chart looks like. And this is a chart of right now, okay? The 22nd, January 27th. It's the metal ox year in the metal ox month. Today is the Metal Dragon day, and it's the Water Horse hour. Inside each of these animals is qi. The ox is primarily earth, but it's a mixture of water and metal as well. The dragon is primarily earth, but it is from the season of wood. And so there's also water in there. And then the horse is fire with some earth. Each of those, like the qi and those, intermingles and tells a story for the day and time. And so by understanding who we are, so your chart has 4 pillars. So I'm going to talk about the 4 animals, and you probably all know your year animal, but your month and your day and your hour animal is also interacting with the chart, of the year. I'm sure you all know what the Chinese characters are, but when we take the 5 elements and we put them in yin and yang, we have yang wood and yang fire and yin fire, yang earth, yin earth, yang metal, yin metal. Now, when you're looking at a chart, so for instance, a person has a lot of fire in their chart, one of the important things to actually ask is, are you born during the day or night? Because yang fire, which is the sun, can only shine at night. So the quality of the sun in a person's chart is actually huge, and we all have fire to some degree in our charts, is influenced by the time of day. These elements do not just be on their own. Yang metal, which is raw metal, needs fire, yin fire, in order to be forged. And so a chart that has lots of metal without fire could have heavy health issues in the metal side because the fire isn't there to put it into balance. Now, I'm sure you have your own methods through pulse and things like that and then you bring in acupuncture or you bring in herbs or things to bring in balance. But I can see from a chart already, a lot of times, the health issues just by the quality of the elements in that season, and is the snapshot of birth giving the person what they need to work with them, if you will. And then this is hard to see, I know, but the 12 animals represent qi. Now, some have 3 elements in them and some have just 1. But when we look at how that interacts with the year, I'm looking at the interactions of those different elements to the year. And so it's not just, and the season you're born affects them, like each of those. And so we call that the hidden stems of the 12 branches. But the way to actually read a chart well is to understand how those elements are all interacting with the snapshot of time that we're referring to. And this year, that would be the water tiger. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about the past, like what brought us to today. So 2019 was the year of the pig. 2020 was the year of the rat. Then the ox this year, and then we're moving forward to tiger, etc. The pig, rat, and ox are all part of what we call the winter season, water. So there's been a lot of water the last 3 years. Now, and no fire in the yearly chart. So one of the global predictions for that right away is less happiness. Now, we don't know when we look at this ahead of time what less happiness is going to mean, but as astrologers, we already knew like around 2018 that something was coming and that globally people would be less happy. We were also predicting, because there was so much metal and water coming in these years, that likely there would be more lung issues and more colds and more flu. And the element that comes with water is fear, and that there would be more fear. Now, we didn't know that that would be COVID, but we knew something was coming, right? So that's just from Chinese astrology. The other thing that's important to note is on the Chinese compass, the metal rat is 0 degrees. And so 0 degrees represents a new beginning. It's the end of a cycle and the beginning of a cycle in some ways. And so some of the other ancient teachings that come along with the astrologies that we're in the birth canal globally as a collective, and that we are coming out of the birth canal into a new consciousness. And I'm sure many of you do consciousness work on different levels, but in this consciousness work, we are being asked to wake up. We have been in the dark. We have been in this cycle of under the ground. And so that's where we've been the last 3 years, like in a very short version to just sort of tell you what's going on. And I could say Saturn and Aquarius and all those other things, there's just not enough time. But all the systems point to the same thing. We are entering into a new age. Well, what are we being asked for as a collective if we're entering into a new age? To change, right? To change how we treat the earth, to change how we treat ourselves. And the water tiger year, part of the reason why that is a spiritual doorway, besides that it's water and wood and representing growth, is it is considered a spiritual pillar. And I'll show you when I show the chart, which is right here. And a spiritual pillar with a particularly special portal, if you will, to accessing higher consciousness. And so so aside from just looking at the chart, this is the chart for 2022. Now, why is it February 4th and not February 1st? Because in the Chinese calendar, there is a lunar calendar and a solar calendar. So the lunar calendar is the festival on the new moon. But the solar calendar is the day as an astrologer that we look at the energy of the whole year. And that's the midpoint between the equinox and the solstice. And so every year predictions globally are being done on that, if you will. So you can see in the chart for 2022 that there are 3 tigers in this chart and 2 are identical, right? And the water tiger is a special portal, and it is a portal to accessing deeper potential growth, if you will. And on February 18th, it's the water tiger day in the water tiger month in the water tiger year. And so I encourage all of you to at least do a meditation on that day and spend some time in nature, because there actually is a real opportunity there to access what your soul is looking for, or some of what your higher consciousness is looking for.
And that's
This
February 18th or February 4th?
February 18th. And at 3
February
o'clock
18th.
in the morning, on top of that, it's the hour of the water tiger. So at 3 to 5 in the morning on February 18th, there are 4 water tigers happening. This will not happen again for another 180 years, the type of energy that's happening this year. The other thing that's happening this year, why it's a spiritual doorway, is the last 2 years have been seen as an energy of releasing what's not working in your personal life and globally. So many people have had fears come up, have had, where in your life are you blocked from manifesting worthiness, from bringing in 3 to 5 a.m. in your time zone? So this is, we don't go, just this would be your local time zone. So, but the last couple of years energetically have been, who are you? What do you stand for? What are your values? And living them. And what do you need to change to be that? And now moving forward, this year particularly, because Water Tiger month is the first month of the year, then the next month symbolizes 2023, and the next month 2024. So there is a portal this year happening that every action you take each month is setting the seeds for the next 12 years of your life. So it's an important year. It's a spiritual doorway, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. It's a great year for manifesting consciously. And if you're unconscious, that's what you'll be manifesting. Okay. Now, globally, this is an unbalanced chart. So anytime throughout the year, expect drama. Now, the type of energy of the chart too, without getting huge into explanations, governments are already doing it. There will be more rules and regulations. There's more fear. There's still water, but what the wood represents is that there's medicine now coming to help heal. The medicine is there. There is fire inside the tiger, but the chart is at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's dark. The fire is not, it's yang fire. There's no yin fire in the chart. So yang fire is the sun. The sun is not shining yet. The sun is going to shine, but it's not here yet. So hope is on the horizon. We will start to feel hopeful, but it's unbalanced. There'll be more rules and regulations. People will still have fear. The water is very deep. Medicines are coming to help people. And really the work is to continue doing our own personal work. The other thing is too, this chart has no metal. So the cycle of 5 elements is disrupted. There's not a pure flow in the chart. So that's also going to have impact. And because there's no metal representing amongst different things is self-discipline and the ability to follow through, is that will also be weak this year for people. right? Yeah, and so this is it. When I teach about astrology, the 5 elements as they interact with each other, right? There's fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. In your chart, they either represent the same element or your output element, or what we call the wealth element and the influence element and the resource element. And so the 5 element focus like can tell me things about all these aspects, and same as friends and relationships that are strong or weak in our lives. And by understanding the blueprint that we were born with, not just from a like health point of view, but what strengths do I have and what weaknesses I have, because then we can learn to compensate in the parts that are weak. And so I love Chinese metaphysics and the 5 element theory, because to me it is like physics. I see the whole world through that lens, right, of what's happening. And by understanding it, I can time my actions or understand that day. I can work with my health issues. I have a lot of metal in my chart, so I have to continually incorporate fire, right? And I do that in different ways. So yeah, and this is the pictorial image for 2022, water tiger. And the reason it's thunder in the rain is because the location where the tiger is associated with thunder, and there's lots of water. So there will be wake-up calls continuing happening this year. There will be shocking things happening this year. But remember what I said, everything happens to you, for you, not to you. If we can embrace life as we chose to be born at this time, and we've chosen these opportunities, then all of a sudden with a curiosity, we work with it. We've chosen to be alive at this time, right? So it's actually a very exciting time, managing our expectations. And so never underestimate the power of water, right? And I love this slide because the wave can either come and knock you down, or in some ways it can be completely empowering. I expect in all your practices, the biggest thing that you will see this year is a psychological pandemic. People dealing with emotions more than almost anything else, and the emotional fallout of that. I'm already seeing it all over the place. And what people need to understand is why, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? What is there for me to learn from this? So in each of your charts, you have 4 pillars. Now, probably today you just know 1, but you might know all 4, right? And the vibration of these pillars, they represent different aspects of your life. And the year pillar is usually the first one we talk about, because the year pillar represents, it's what we call the first thing of your chart that gets hit. So your emotions. The year pillar is your emotions. So your interaction, if you say it with the year, is very much to do with your emotions and your greater circle of the world around you. But the month pillar is very important as well, because it represents, amongst other things, we say our parents, but our parents represent our immediate environment in the community around us, and it represents our work. So if I say you have a lucky animal, so-called lucky, but it just means that there's opportunities there. Remember, only 33% of your luck is the chart. 33% of it you can do too. So 33, the month represents career, amongst other things. So if you have an animal that I say isn't so happy in the month, you might not be as satisfied in your job this year, or you might find things not flowing as well. Where astrology then is helpful to actually too, is like if it's not flowing, instead of throwing away the baby with the bathwater, you just work with it this year and then make another decision next year, right? If the animal on the day is monkey, say, that's clashing with the tiger. Your day is personal to you. That could mean that in your personal life, you're going to experience change, or you need to look, where do I need to make change, right? And so each pillar represents different things. They all represent your health because it's all integrated. And the hour pillar represents your children and your assets and your hopes and dreams. Okay, and so why are children associated with hopes and dreams? Because in the old days in China, there was no pension plan. So your children were you had to rely on them for your future, So yeah, let's look at the luck, if you will, of each of the animals. So there's 12 animals, and I'm going to start with the tiger. And so the tiger this year, it's the year of the tiger, and the focus is on you, right? And so if you're prepared to grow, great. If you're not, it's a tough year because the focus is on you. So what do you want to be seen for, right? And where are you, what are your values? Like, you will get away with nothing this year. And if you don't want things to change, I think you're going to have a tough year. But if you're willing to upgrade your self-knowledge, to become a better person, despite the challenges, rise to the occasion, the stars. Now, I haven't put the stars here because I don't like the Chinese names for some of the stars, because their stars have names like hidden corpse, peeling head, back poking, right? Like, and they're not, we take them in a different tone than what they mean. But there's also stars here, if you will, annual stars of sky bright and intelligence. There's really good energy for you to learn something new and upgrade your knowledge. So use that, right, to become better. You know, are you willing to grow, step into your true power? Great potential awaits those who are ready to step into their true power, right? Your decision to raise your life to the next level will come with emotional tests, for sure, because it's like you cannot be, it's like the emperor every year chooses somebody to be in the inner circle. Well, if you're in the inner circle and you're with the emperor, you're being looked at, right? So so the potential to raise your professional status or in different areas of life is there, but it's going to be intense. So self-care then becomes important, right? Getting enough sleep and all those types of things, right? And I have tiger on my day. I'm already planning how I'm going to take care of myself this year to deal with those things. There might be headaches and stress and those types of things. And that's just a sign that you have to do some self-care. I don't think there's necessarily real health issues for the tiger. The tiger is one of those signs that's more prone to accidents than they are chronic health issues, because it's a travel star and it's an animal that tends to be hasty. And to say, yeah, these are just generalizations, but I've been doing this a long time. It's very curious how the generalizations often show up as true. The rabbit, the main chi in the rabbit is yin wood. So even though the tiger is yang wood and the rabbit is yin wood, they're very different wood. The rabbit this year is one of the luckiest animals. So if you have rabbit in your chart, opportunities that are easy are coming your way. Now the tiger is going to have opportunities too, but they're coming with pressure, okay? So the rabbit comes with what we call the sun star. And so the sun star brings yang chi, and yang chi in this case usually means help from males or luck during the day when the sun is shining. You have the ability this year to turn negative events into positive ones. All right, but use them, because next year it's the year of the rabbit. So the pressure, like you can create a lot of things this year that next year you shine for. So because you're lucky this year, how do you use that? Build your network. You get connections, because you have the ability now to meet people that are more influential that can help you grow, right? So expand out of your existing zone, leverage on other people. Now, connections are pivotal to all of us if we want to grow our business. So if you have rabbit in the year or month, do more marketing, because you will get better results for your efforts this year, right? And you will be seen as sparkling. You will attract admirers, Now, you're going to feel a bit rebellious. And so because of the rebelliousness, you might, decide you need more. I think it's really important to set goals every year as you want, because then when we're rebellious, remember I said there's not going to be as much self-discipline this year with the lack of metal. You're going to blow off your goals. This is not a year for the rabbit to blow off your goals, because you can really get ahead. And just a side thing too, there's a little aspect of this that there's a relationship star with this that's more lustful than romantic. And so that could be fun, but this is maybe something to watch. Okay. And again, this is just like 1 hour. I could hardly do justice to this, right? The dragon. The dragon is the last animal in the season of spring. And we say that the main chi is earth, but the wood in the dragon is also very, very strong because it's still part of that season of wood. Dragon, this year is a year where you're going to be looking at yourself a little deeper and questioning your life. It's more a year where you need to be the light in other people's lives in order to attract light to you, you know? And so opportunities are there by making your own luck, right? And so part of that then you're going to have to work a little bit with dissatisfaction. Now that can be okay if you use it to actually really question, where do I want to see myself in 12 years? Remember I said this is the year where you set your intentions, where your actions every month set yourself up moving forward. So if you can work with this is great, actually, right? But some stars, and I'll tell you myself personally, over the last 20 plus years, the years where I've had what are called challenging influences, I've had better years than the easy years because I had to work with them, you know? And if you follow Eckhart Tolle, it's like nobody grows without suffering. You know, well, the dragon is going to have some emotional suffering this year, but that means actually look at it, right? So what happens if you're more sensitive? Hang out with positive people. Be really careful with your time. The top 5 people you hang out with reflect your life. So if you're hanging out with people that are bringing you down, the dragon particularly is not going to have as much resources this year to overcome that. There's still opportunities to make money, plenty, but the goal is perhaps do short-term results versus long-term. That's the focus this year. Do short, realistic goal setting, achievable, and manage your stress levels, okay? Yeah, hang out with people that can help you. Be a good listener. Learn to manage your interpersonal relationships and be respectful of others. This is true always. Be the change. Be the light. Okay. In career, a little bit, expect the unexpected and be flexible. Okay, the snake. Now the snake is the first element of the snake is yang fire, and then there's yang earth, and then there's yang metal. It's a very interesting animal. It's got quite a bunch of good luck this year, and it's going to reignite your faith for the future, right? But don't overcommit, because you have people and opportunities coming your way. You're a little bit like the man this year or the woman, but you know, by communicating clearly and having reasonable expectations, you will do very well with this. There's a curious aspect this year for the snake that the moon is your nobleman, meaning yin activities and working at night are very much energies to work with. And so clarity and wisdom are there for you, especially be open to receiving help from females. So for you who have snakes, the females around you will help you more. And if you have an important meeting or something to do, after 5 o'clock is more favored than during the day, right? Evening types of connections. You have the ability to learn unconventional things this year. So that could be more metaphysics or spiritual or those types of things. There's some portals there helping you with that. And again, be mindful not to overcommit or to be impatient, to want things too fast. If you tread carefully and have patience, you're going to have a great year. The horse is yin fire with yin earth. Now, some of you, there's a polarity to the horse, because some will say, oh, isn't it yang fire? Yes, it is yang fire, but the hidden stems inside are yin fire. The horse has popularity stars this year. So good year for marketing, good year for embracing more connections and that type of a thing. It's though manage hastiness, right? And important thing here, there's some gossip stars around you. Now, what that could be too is gossip can show up as office politics, backfiring on you. But it also shows minor legal problems if you're not careful in what you say and do. Do not contribute to bad mouthing others. Have a plan, right? The horse is friends to the tiger. There are potential new mergers, new collaborations, or new partnerings coming your way. And again, just pay attention to contracts and things like that. If you're thorough, you will have a good year. Yeah, people will come to your aid, and you can promote your own luck by being someone that solves other people's problems. The more you solve other people's problems, the more people will show up for you to help you solve your problems. There are some wealth stars there for you. So pretty much your instincts in money and investments are good this year. So particularly if this is in your day and hour, that will show up more. Yeah, but you have better reputation, better promotion luck. Yeah, see lots of positive things coming for the horse. The goat. So the goat this past year has had a challenging year because the ox and the goat clash. So you have been really asked to look at what part of your life more than other animals need change. What's not working, what's working. There might have been health issues. And literally there's an aspect that happened in 2021 that they call the bully penalty, where you have felt that you've had to do things that you don't want to do. You've been kind of bullied by the universe. But here's the thing, if you're feeling bullied by the universe and that's being projected out there, the question to actually ask yourself is, where do I bully myself? Where am I not taking care of myself? And so the goat this year, though, can breathe a sigh of relief, because last year it's been kind of relentless, the pressure that's coming. And so with change comes progress. There are overseas opportunities. Now, certainly, hundreds of years ago when they said, oh, the goat has overseas opportunities, they were not realizing that with the internet, we can now have overseas opportunities. Lauren here with all of you from around the world here this is considered opening up to a new market of overseas opportunities, right? Be clear on what your heart wants. This is what hopefully has come out of last year for you if you have goat in your chart, and that you follow some steps to what your heart wants. There are better prospects coming yourself. Buy yourself some nice gifts. There will be reasons for celebration. If you have been contemplating a life overall haul, this is the year to do it, or to really consider doing it. There's excellent career luck for you. Cash flow should be good. A little bit, there's some health issues, but I mean, I could say for all signs with COVID, there's health issues. I mean, all of us should be careful, as much as possible. But, and if you're a single goat and looking for a partner, you might find someone. And single goat, or not single goats, married goat, well, whether you're married or not, doesn't matter. Some goats may have an easier time getting pregnant this year. The monkey. So the monkey is in direct clash to the tiger. So a clash is like an opposition, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what it means is change. Okay, so, and the best way to deal with this is get ahead of the change. What area of your life needs change? And already. Is it your health? Is it how you handle your finances? Is it how you handle your business, your personal relationships, right? So if you're ready to work with that, you'll be fine. It's not a year to be hasty and not paying attention to what the universe is giving you as signs. Your luck in work is better if you're moving around a lot or stay busy. Right? It's an intense year, but there's some really positive stars, that what we call relief stars, that mean if you're working with the energy, you can solve all the problems that come, but you have to be prepared to deal with what you need to deal with. That's really what's happening here. You are the chosen one this year in a way, in that the emperor you're in the inner circle, but he's only going to accept you if you raise to the occasion as well. So yeah, it's like, what do you need to do? There's some potential big expenses. The animal each year that's in opposition to what we call the yearly animal has more expenses that year. So you can get ahead of that as well. Where can you invest that will help your life get ahead? So this is not the year to invest in more rich dinners or more luxury type items. This is if you invest in something that will help you get ahead. So this could be resources for your business. This could be actually resources that help you get healthier, could help you be smarter, right? Those are all things good to do as well. And good communication, I think, is important as well, because things could blow up for you if you sit on stuff that you're not talking about, right? Your career, okay, and also the first 6 months of this year will be a bit more challenging than the last 6 months. So I'm lucky too. I have tiger and monkey in my chart. So I get to deal with both of those this year, right? And so we can all check in at the end of the year and see, and I'm very prepared. I know the areas where I need to set intentions this month with actions, like it's like, okay, I'll consciously go for another walk today, right? Like it's getting ahead of it, right? The rooster is the luckiest, or the so-called luckiest animal of 2022 in the year of the water tiger. And it comes with the emperor star and the dragon virtue. And in a way, especially if you have this in your year or your month. So the year and the month animals also are your life outside of home, and your day and hour are your animals at home, your life at home, right? So they represent different things. If you have rooster in the month or the year, grow your business. You will do more marketing, because you will get the help that you need. It's a sign of success. Your leadership, be a leader. You should be a leader. These are leadership stars. Your reputation can easily grow positively. It's a likability star. And you have the instincts and knowledge to turn things around and just generally feel happy and fulfilled. One of the things that often happens when you have so-called lucky stars is we get lazy because we feel good. The truth is we usually actually take more action when we're feeling confronted than not. So accountability partners or business coaches or things like that, I think, are really important things to always have in your life, because then you set a goal for the year and then you take steps towards it. The rooster is someone that can really make some progressive changes that'll be years to come supportive. People will want your advice and knowledge. People are there to support you. The only thing it says to be a little careful for the rooster in 2022 is to be beware of water-related potential dangers. So, I mean, I'm not, so I guess just don't dive off a cliff if you don't know what's underneath in the water. The dog. So the dog is, it also, if you have dog or dragon in your chart, you are already prone to being a more spiritual, contemplative person, right? Those are just the portals that are in the chart and this year you have the opportunity to co-create the life you want, to seek and ask for help if needed, and to challenge your limits. It is kind of an average year for you, but it's stable. And in some ways that's really good. You will be more creative and innovative, right? There are opportunities for you to grow spiritually, particularly this year. Your status and reputation could grow. Do not be hasty in paperwork. That could show up for you as a problem later. And I suppose the biggest thing is there could be misunderstandings in communication. There's a solitude star coming with a dog this year, which means even if you're in a great relationship, you will want time alone and need time alone. So if you can find that, you should be fine, right? It's really trust your intuition, right? So to connect with that part of yourself. So if you're in a long-term relationship, communicate your feelings and take responsibility for your role, right? I love a saying, you are 100% responsible for 50% of the problem. The pig. The pig is also very lucky, so-called, in the year of the tiger, because they're best friends. However, it also comes with an aspect that if you're too naive and too not questioning that what you think was going to happen doesn't quite turn out the way you thought. So certainly if I would say get in writing and in this case, like if you have work relationships or things where there's expectations happening, or you're in work roles where you're functioning together as teams, get it in writing what your responsibilities are with timelines. Because there's a little bit of a chance people will help you and then they'll take your idea or something like that. But you have potential new mergers coming, new partnering, you might get married, children, like all kinds of energy. The universe is sending you all kinds of things, but it's always, if you are a pig, part of your whole life is to always do your due diligence and not be naive. That's actually something that kind of just comes with the pig. And so there's nothing you can't overcome. You will receive plenty of help. Yeah, there will be some obstacles, and there actually will be people jealous of you. So that might also be potentially something, but like how you can deal with that. Good fortune, yeah, and wealth opportunities, business relationships. Now, granted too, it's like to say each of you, based on the day, is fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. So I can say what the animals are, but water to you, which is the main ingredient in the pig, will have a different relationship to you as the type of opportunities that are coming if you're fire than if you're metal, right? And so for some of you, that would be wealth relationships, or for some of you, it would be wood. And this is where, if you've never had a full reading done, you might want to consider sometimes getting a reading, right? And just looking at that all in depth. But the pig, overall, relationships are good. Actually, the biggest thing that'll probably bother you emotionally is that people will be jealous of you and saying things, and you're so sensitive that that's going to hurt your feelings. But really, things are going well. The rat. The rat is going to have a year this year where managing your emotions is key to your happiness. And so, and learning, this is a year where the rat has the ability to learn that you always have the power to choose how you feel about something, and to learn to work with that. And that grace and a sense of curiosity and acceptance are your friends, okay? It is possible to have a peaceful year. You will be popular, but you have to pick and choose who you hang out with, that they reflect what you value. You have to be the change. If you are not the change this year, like whatever your negative thoughts are this year, if you're not working with it, it'll get very easily reflected for you. And so it is one of the signs that is a little bit more susceptible to the emotions of 2022 than the other ones. And so if you need to manage it, so I would not watch the news, and I would, exercise, best way to get endorphins, and all those types of things, because you are very sensitive this year. So as much as possible, avoid emotional reactions and beware of your ego, right? And use that experience to do your spiritual work. A great year for that. So it's usually we don't think years that are great for spiritual work we don't value them the same when we say, oh, my assets went up 40%, and I got this many more clients. And last but not least, it's the ox. And so this year for the ox as well, it's been a challenging year because you're the one that it's been your year, right? And this month, it's the month of the ox and the year of the ox, and almost out of the woods, right? Next year, you can also breathe a sigh of relief. People are going to want to hang out with you more. You're going to be, in general, happier. There's three major stars, if you will, bringing happy events and good news. You might find a mentor. People are there wanting to mentor you. Your desire to learn will really come back or get ignited. Recognition and rewards can come your way if you deserve them, like do things to get them. There's wealth luck for you there, like so you could do things and make more money. So the thing too is, like, I can tell you it's a lucky year, but if you don't do anything, you have to actually act to make them happen, right? People will find you more charming. Great year for connection. And yet you're also still going to feel a little bit oddly alienated or alone. And this is also a little bit of the nature of the ox already. It's what we call one of the 4 graveyards, but the graveyards are more spiritual animals, right? So it's within you to be that way. So make sure that you also just work on your meditation practice, right? And to take that. Relationships, you have the potential to find someone, meet someone new, you know, if you're single. Yeah. And yeah, oh, and it's a good year for students, like, again, learning something new, right? So that takes me to the end of the 12 animals. I just have a little bit more that I just want to share with you, and then we'll open it up to questions. So 33% of your luck is your astrology, right? And so, but your house also has an energy. And I just show you this blueprint because I don't know if you've ever seen, this is one of the compass rings on the Chinese compass, and it goes of your house and we align it to north, south, east, west. And each of the animals actually has a location on that compass. And so it is actually possible to see if you're sleeping in a clash, or if you're sleeping in a combination, or if you're sleeping in an energy that supports you. Like feng shui isn't just about putting in lucky frogs. As a matter of fact, lucky frogs have nothing to do with it. It is about how, where, what, see, south is fire, north is water. Like what is the energy of each of those locations? And then each year, there's an aspect called flying stars. And they just called that Zhuangkong, and there's Zhuangkong Feixing and Zhuangkong Dagua, but each of those stars represents one of the elements. 3 and 4 is wood, 9 is fire, 2, 5, and 8 are earth. And in our home, the energy and locations of the areas that we spend time in interact with us as well. And so I can go to people's houses with my compass and look at the blueprint, and I can ask you about your health, and I'm pretty sure the answer I'm going to get. Or I can ask you about relationships, just like you can take a pulse, or just like you, energy is available in all kinds of ways to see. And so I hope one day that they bring feng shui and all these things back to teaching how to look at health as all the modalities of where you live and time and what you eat and those types of things. So 2022, what's coming? Emotional tests are coming. You know, it's the year of the water tiger, and Jupiter is in Pisces. Are you the visionary with new ideas, ready for new beginnings and a paradigm shift? Do you have a clear and stable sense of self-worth, right? Like, do you know who you are? There will be people out there looking for quick fixes. And so it's important for all of us that our words and actions match. This is what the last 2 years have been as a collective asking us to do. COVID, when it shut us down, was who are you and what are your values with your family and in your life with your loved ones? And now moving forward, because it's important to embody those, because the energy of this year is similar to 2008. So I don't know what's coming financially, but there is some kind of correction coming. But corrections are not to be scared of. They're actually to be worked with. Einstein has a saying, if you believe the world is friendly, it is. If you believe the world is not friendly, it is. What do you want? I want a friendly universe, right? And so that means me working my attitude. So live your values, be wary of projecting your fears and blaming others for what is yours to deal with, right? A new paradigm shift is here. How are you working with it, all right? So this is my second last slide. It's like, what's next? I mean, I was talking to Lauren at the beginning of this. If you are interested, you could let him know, or you could email me and let me know. I could put together a one-day class on 5-element theory in relationship to a chart, right? Because that'll, like, I teach Batsu, but if you're gonna, Batsu is the name for this, to really do it, it's a 4-day course, and that's more than you guys all want. But I'm sure that it might be interesting to understand some of the interactions and clashes and different things in a chart, and then have that in front of you. So if that's something you're interested in, I could put that together for a few months down the road. We could figure out something, and it would be exciting for me to support your practices with that, right? How to see that. And then the other part is, as I said, I do being conscious and being healthy is not just one thing, is it? It's a whole bunch of things. And so please join my email list and find out when our full moon circles are. Lauren, our next full moon circle is with the Gata, right? And so I'm bringing in different women and people to help do guided meditations. We do sound meditations and we do inner work where it's a process of different things. And I also, on the first Saturday of every month, do a Facebook Live for an hour where I just talk about the monthly energies and some of the consciousness things that are happening, called Conscious Conversations. I am a full-time consultant. I do consultations in astrology and whatnot, but that's me, right? And so, yeah, thanks, Lauren. I'm going to stop the share here. Thank you all very much.
I want to thank you all for joining in. Marlyna, I want to thank you for putting together this presentation. Thank you all, and be well.